Is that possible? Is it possible to get 100 on your test in nursing school? Hey, it's Case! Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. I'm Casey. Welcome to my channel, like I said 9 times now. If you're new here, please make sure you subscribe by hitting the button down below. Make sure if you're gonna subscribe, you might as well go ahead and hit that little bell button. That way you will get notified every time I upload a video, 100% sure. That's just a good idea to do that if you haven't already. So today I'm going to be bringing to you how I study for nursing school. This video is going to be, a couple tips, a couple tricks, and just kind of like a study with me video. I'm very excited to share it with you because I have found success, everyone. I got a 90 on my first test, and that is pretty good if I do say so myself. I only got 5 questions wrong out of 50, so I will give myself a little pat on the back, a little hoorah, hoorah, because that is success in my opinion. I failed in a class in nursing school, and I know what it's like to get really bad grades, and I know what I did wrong then, and I know what I've done right now to get that 90, so I'm going to continue doing this while I'm in school. I have plenty of tests left to take. So if you're struggling with the method of studying that you're using and it's not really working for you, maybe you're studying a lot and you're still not getting the grades that you want. That was me last semester, so I know exactly how that feels. So I finally found a way that works for me. I think it could work for you if you try it out. So I want to share as much of that information with you as possible because I want you to succeed. I want you to do well. I want you to pass with flying colors and not just, get a C and get a degree. Like, that's cool too, but wouldn't you rather have like A's or B's? Let's get as best grades as we can and move on and become RNs and just succeed in school. So I think these study tips are specifically, for nursing students, but if you're in any other type of schooling or medical schooling, this stuff might come in handy to you too. I don't know. We shall see. So, without further ado, let's get into how I study for nursing school. The first thing that I always do is I try my best to prepare for class. One of the number one things that you obviously can do to prepare for class is to do your readings. And I know that seems like time consuming and tough to do, but whenever you get a chance, like I get some downtime at work. I work as a student nursing aide in the hospital. So sometimes I get a couple seconds and I can get on the computer and kind of just like look over the reading, make a couple highlights, do whatever I have to get the reading in when I can. I don't have to read it verbatim, word for word, in depth, sit down for hours and hours and hours and read all this material. Just kind of skim it, read like the main topics, kind of pull up your PowerPoint and see the areas that your teachers are kind of guiding you to study the most, and look at those topics and those points in your readings and highlight them and just kind of like make note of that. You don't necessarily have to take notes from your readings. I like to do that sometimes if it's a topic that I'm really struggling with. I'll pull out some of the notes, some of the highlights that I took in my readings and make notes out of them. And you don't have to like overwhelm yourself with that. Also, sometimes your teachers will post like videos that they want you to watch before class, or specific articles that they've pulled out and posted for you to read. Just do those readings and watch those videos, especially if it's a video. Like, you have, anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes to sit down and watch a video. You can figure out how to get that viewing time in before class. So that's my number one study tip, is preparing for class. That way you'll know that knowledge so much better. Once you're in class, you'll understand it more, and it's just really beneficial to kind of know what the teachers are talking about. Study tip number 2 is making a study schedule. After you've gone to class and you've kind of taken on all of that information and you're preparing to study for your test, sit down, look at your calendar, make sure you're using a planner or something to keep yourself organized. You have all your dates in there so you can see when your next test is and how many days you have to study. I don't recommend studying every single day. That just is insane. You shouldn't do that. You should find, if you can, at least a couple hours on certain days where you can study, and if you can't study one day, don't kill yourself about it. Break up your topics into, say, like, I'm going to study this topic this day, that topic another day. That's what I like to do anyways. I usually like to do 2 topics tops, not do more than that, like not bulk all of the material together. So just find a way in your schedule to fit all those topics in on certain days. Don't go crazy doing more than 2 a day, because that's just, you're not going to remember that information. So just try to block out time in your week before your test to get that material in. I don't recommend studying the day before a test, but that's just my opinion. The day before a test, you maybe should be reviewing all of the study materials you've gone over, but the bulk of your studying should have happened in the weeks prior, the days prior to your exam. Don't cram. Don't get it all in last minute. Try not to anyways. I know it sometimes happens, but you know, make that schedule, that way it won't happen. It's just a good tool and a good tip to, you know, continue to go on and do throughout your college years. Tip number 3 for me is kind of, you know, like an all-encompassing thing. Get in your study environment. For me lately, I've been loving my desk. It's just a quiet, clean space, organized, where I can focus on my material. I like to put my oil diffuser on and diffuse wintergreen, peppermint, lemon, and frankincense. That helps me relax, that helps me focus. I like that blend of oils to get me in the mood to study. I like to put on some stress away oil and just like put that behind my ears and on my wrists. And I don't know, I like to use scent as a way to remember and recall information. It helps me. So that's one of my study tips that I have, is get your environment set. You know, put on the lighting. If you like to study with music, put some music on. I personally like quiet and just have my diffuser on and just breathe in my oils. So, you know, whatever that environment is for you, get in that environment and know that that is your focus time. You're going to sit down and you're going to study your material. No distractions. You know, if something is distracting you, eliminate it from that environment and don't let it enter your study zone. Number 4 is get your drinks, your snacks, your coffee. Get that all set up. Put it next to you. Know that it's there if you need it. I need coffee and water always when I'm studying. Like, I can't go without them. The way that I like to study, the first thing that I like to do is make concept maps out of all of the disease processes that I'm learning about. So I take my PowerPoint, my readings, book material, and I like to compile them all into one giant concept map. So my concept maps will have like my pathophysiology. The patho will have like a brief synopsis of what the patho is, not like super detailed, but like the key points of the pathophysiology, the main signs and symptoms, the major risk factors, and complications, medications, treatment, diagnosis. Most people know what a concept map is because you have to do them for clinical a lot of the times, but I never thought to like make one to study like the disease processes with. So I like to sit down with all of my material, everything that I used to study, and I make these concept maps. I'll use the same color to highlight things, to underline things, to write my notes in my PowerPoint, and then to ultimately make this concept map out of all of that material. And then my next study tip is to make flashcards. Flashcards or cue cards. I like to, when I'm making my concept maps and going over my notes, to pull out like key points, vocabulary, lab values, or certain topics or concepts that I'm struggling with. I like to pull them specifically right out of the reading, make a card for them. That way I have that material to study with like on the go. It's easy to have those, you know, like when you're, you know, before your test, just to go through those flashcards and not have like all your concept maps out or all your PowerPoints out. You just have those flashcards with stuff that you were struggling with. You can look it over and try to, you know, retain that information. So I love flashcards, especially for vocabulary and lab values. They're awesome. So that's one of the tools that I also like to use. A big one for me that I found helps me, you know, go from a C student to an A student, and that is practice questions. There's plenty of practice questions all over the place. Specifically, my school, we have these wonderful ATI books that kind of condense all the material together so that, you know, you have your broader concepts and like a smaller reading, and then they have practice questions at the end of each of the chapters. I always do the practice questions. I try to practice as many questions as I can, and I also use my Lippincott Q&A book. That book has been a lifesaver to me. It's really challenging questions, They're NCLEX questions. They're literally the same kind of questions you'll be seeing on your tests and on the NCLEX. So practicing as many of those as possible is my advice to you. I also practice questions online through Lippincott, which is like the book source that my school used to provide us with all of our study materials. So there's like a prep you section on there. I like to go on there and select the topics that I'm learning about and do practice questions on there. ATI also has practice questions. There's just tons of resources out there where you can find practice questions. I like to use my Davis book. I'll go through that. Any of the books that I have on hand, I will see if I have any questions that I can practice out of them. You can never hurt yourself by practicing more questions. The more you do, the better prepared you are for test taking in general. So it's just a big tip that I have for you. The next tip that I have is to use Khan Academy. Khan Academy has wonderful videos all across the internet. You can find them on YouTube, and they also have their own website. I'll leave it linked down below so that you can go use it as a resource. You can look up pretty much any nursing topic, subject, and they literally draw the whole thing out for you. All the patho, all the, they make like a concept map, and they make it in a way for you that's easy for you to understand, and they draw pictures and like arrows, and it's just really helpful to like review that material quickly if you have to without writing it all out yourself. It's kind of like a visual way to learn, and I highly recommend it. Another thing that I absolutely need to do when I'm studying is I like to find I think they're called picmonics, or little pictures. Sometimes my teachers use them on PowerPoints, but they're basically animations of certain disease processes, and they have cartoon characters that kind of imitate the disease that a person would have if they had that disease. What am I trying to say? They're little characters that look like someone that would have that chronic illness. So it's a perfect way to visualize, oh, that's what that person looks like that has right-sided heart failure, or that's what that person would look like if they had a stroke on, a left-sided stroke or a right-sided stroke. It's just a good way to put that visual in your head, along with Khan Academy, looking at pictures and picmonics like that. Is a way that I found that really helps me understand the concepts and the diseases themselves. And then I just print them out, and I keep them with all my concept maps to kind of remember that that's what that person would look like if they had this disease. Oh my god, so many words are coming out of my mouth. And the last study tip that I have for you is putting it all together. So you've gone through all your topics, you've reviewed all your materials, and you have yourself a nice little study packet of all your concept maps and the flashcards that you've created, and just keep reviewing that material as much as you can. I like to take the day before the test and the day of the test and really go over everything once more to let it all really sink in, going over those flashcards, making sure that, I'm pulling out the ones that I'm really struggling with and going over those constantly and continuously. And then going over practice questions one last time. I sometimes take the same questions over again. I'll study them all when I'm doing one concept at a time. I'll do the practice questions, and then I'll do them one more time before the test to really drill home those key concepts that are in questions that really tripped me up. So, yes, I don't know how many tips that was, but yeah, that's all that I have for you at this moment in time. So yeah, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a couple new things, or you're going to take away some concepts that have helped me, and I hope that they help you. And if you have any questions, definitely leave them down below, or, tell me any video ideas that you want to see from me. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for more videos like this from me. I hope this one helped you. I really do. That's all I want to do is help people. That's why I'm a nurse. Yeah, so make sure to do that and subscribe to my channel to see more videos like this from me. And I will see you all on another time. Happy studying, everyone. I hope you get 90s on your test, or 100. Is that possible? Is it possible to get 100 on your test in nursing school? Let me know if you've ever gotten 100 on your test. I think the highest grade I got was a 93. But there's always room for improvement, especially in nursing school. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye. snapping at this.